A burglar jimmies the lock and slips into the dimly lit house. He methodically ransacks drawers and cabinets, but finds nothing valuable until he spots a locked cabinet in the utility room. As he pries at the lock, footsteps echo outside. Game over. He kills the lights and dives behind the couch. A woman enters. An old fan drops to the floor, heart pounding. When the couple steps into the kitchen, he sneaks into the bedroom, but his temple slams into the bed frame. Pain erupts. Ignoring it, he rolls under the bed just as the man enters. Miraculously, he's invisible. Exhaustion hits. He passes out. He wakes to a nightmare. A dead woman lies inches from his face. Across the room, the man sips whiskey, cleaning a bloody gash on his arm. Then, the man's gaze locks onto Old Fan's flashlight. The man grabs a pistol, scanning the shadows. His head snaps toward the curtain. Someone's hiding there. In a split second, Old Fan bursts out, and they grapple for the gun. The man suddenly convulses with a violent cough, and Old Fan seizes the pistol. Before he can act, a delivery driver shuffles in from the kitchen, eyes widening at the body. Food's on the counter, sir, enjoy," he mumbles, backing away. The driver, Ma, raises his hands. "I swear, I just deliver food. I walked in, got clocked in the head. Nothing to do with this." But the man shouts, "He killed her! Now he'll kill us both." Old Fan protests, but Ma uses the chaos to bolt for the door. The man's eyes narrow as he shuts the door, trapping them in a deadly standoff. Old Fan wakes tied to a chair. The man barks at Ma, "Clap non-stop. If you pause, you die." As the man enters the kitchen, Ma crouches beside Old Fan, whispering, "The guy who attacked me wore leather shoes. You're in sneakers." He begins picking the knots, slapping his own face to keep the rhythm. But the man hears them. Wham! Old Fan is kicked to the floor. In the chaos, Ma knocks the gun from the man's hand, and they wrestle for control. But as the man struggles, he desperately reaches for the power strip switch. When Old Fan comes to, the room is deathly silent. The man lies motionless. Ma has strangled him. Old Fan stands there, stunned. All he wanted was a few bucks for his son's surgery. Now there's another corpse. How did this happen? Panic claws at him. He needs to run now. Ma, still shaking. "I'm just a delivery guy." Old Fan hands him a cigarette, says, "Stay alive," and turns to leave. But as he grabs his flashlight, he freezes. The fridge reads -25 degrees Celsius. What's really going on here? Old Fan yanks open the fridge and freezes. It's stuffed with cash, millions of yuan, neatly stacked. Greed overrides fear. He decides to stay. He and Ma form a shaky alliance. Clean the scene, split the loot, and vanish. But in Ma's delivery bag, Old Fan finds identical stacks of cash.
什么？你到底是谁？
Flashback to hours earlier, Ma pops the trunk of a sleek sedan, loading cash into his bag as Lena watches. She hangs up a call, smiles, and kisses his cheek. "Wait upstairs for me." But after she enters, her next call is urgent. "Leave now. Don't ask. Just go." Then radio silence. Now, with a gun to his head, Ma spills the truth. Lena is Boss Yu's mistress and Ma is her fellow villager. They plan to swap Yu's real cash with counterfeit bills, but the scheme went sideways. Now they're stuck in this mess. As the saying goes, the bold thrive, the cautious survive, or maybe just starve. Old Fan and Ma decide to go all in. Grab the cash, forget the bodies. Without his son's surgery on the line, Old Fan would never have broken in. Now, with this money, his boy might just survive.
我想用坏人的钱救一个好孩子命，这不算是缺德。
They scrub the scene for prints, but when Old Fan searches the man's phone, his blood runs cold. The man's name is Yan, not Yu. This means there's another person in this house. So the white-haired guy is actually Boss Yu. This is one of his hidden stash spots. He plugs in the power card, heads upstairs to check the cash in the deep freezer, and suddenly gets ambushed by a man named Yan. But Yan isn't interested in the money at all. He's grilling Yu about some kind of transaction. Right in the middle of the interrogation, Lena downstairs calls. To keep the operation under wraps, Yan pretends to be one of Yu's men and lures her upstairs. Just as he starts pressing Yu again, her phone rings.
喂，你的外卖到了。
As Yan turns, he's ambushed by Lena. Even Boss Yu, trying to help, gets caught in the crossfire. During the struggle, Yu's vision blurs, and he accidentally bashes Lena to death. Now, in the present, Yu still thinks Old Fan and Ma are Yan. He spills everything, except about the freezer full of cash. The deal is set for tonight, but then they realize the man, Yan, they killed might have been a cop. A cop. Panic sets in as they recall every detail, how he fought, what he said. It's over. They're trapped in a murder they can't undo. What the hell do they do now? Boss Yu doesn't notice anything's off. Desperate to save his own skin, he spills the code and time. The signal is, it's cold, at 11:11 p.m., November 11th. But when Old Fan asks, what's the actual deal? Yu's blood runs cold. The truth hits him. These guys aren't cops. As Old Fan tries to press Yu for answers, he starts shouting. Ma snaps. One punch, and Yu drops like a rock. But they still don't know what's being traded. Just as they grab the cash, knock knock. The buyers are here. When no one answers, a bodyguard kicks the door in. They sweep the room, confused. It's empty. Then Old Fan shoves Ma into the open.
不睡觉，阿猫阿狗吵什么吵？天冷了要吃饭，大哥大嫂大发大发，有大成。
But what follows chills Old Fan to the bone. Blindfolded kids shuffle in, each clutching a metal bowl. They're the cargo. Thank God he asked to inspect. Otherwise, he'd have walked into a nightmare. The bowls, the whistles, it all clicks. These are trafficked children, their eyes mutilated to maximize begging profits. A trafficker smirks, handing Old Fan a whistle. Old Fan yanks the girl's hand toward him and freezes. Where did you get this child? He demands. The trafficker pulls her behind him, assuming Old Fan has uncovered their scheme. We lost a kid before the deal. Grab this one as a replacement. Haven't blinded her yet. To Old Fan's horror, he realizes she's the daughter of Yan, the cop they killed. Yan had tracked the traffickers here, planting cameras throughout the room to gather evidence and rescue his daughter. Misreading Old Fan's shock as dissatisfaction with product quality, the trafficker panics.
就1个月的时间，我把这帮小东西全部再加工一遍。
Blind, deaf, missing limbs, whatever you want. He orders a henchman to take notes on Old Fan's specifications. But Old Fan's only thought, I must save them. Old Fan reaches for the cash, but Ma blocks him, thrusting forward a bag of prepped counterfeit bills. The trafficker insists on checking the authenticity. Ma's scheme, the first 5 bills in each stack are genuine, but the 6th is fake.
请注意，这张是假币。
Before Old Fan can react, Ma hurls a crate at the man's face, and pandemonium erupts. Fists fly, bodies collide, and Old Fan's pistol is knocked to the floor, skidding into the kitchen. The children cower in the corner, silent with terror. Amid the chaos, a bodyguard grabs Old Fan in a chokehold, while Ma takes the trafficker boss hostage. We can pretend this never happened, the boss weeps. But Old Fan barks, let the kids go first. Just as the hostage swap begins, Boss Yu wakes, wielding a gun and shouting accusations. As a bodyguard lunges to disarm him, Yu pulls the trigger. Unbeknownst to all, a single lighter has been the puppet master of their fates. A cigarette butt from the bodyguard's mouth lands on the fridge's leaking coolant. Whoosh! Flames ignite, trailing toward the gas line. The fridge explodes, throwing Old Fan across the room. When he regains consciousness, his first act isn't to flee, it's to rescue the children huddled in the corner. But when he turns back for Ma, the truth emerges. Ma is the perpetrator of a recent family massacre, driven by his ex-girlfriend's scorn. He drags Old Fan to the bed, his earlier vulnerability replaced by cold calculation. You'll be the hero who uncovered this, he says, and I'll vanish. Old Fan begs for his son's life, swearing silence. Ma smirks.
大哥，还是那句话，我信钱，不信你。
Checked your phone. Your kid's got a kidney donor. Surgery's next week. But as Old Fan looks from the fridge to the clock, a chilling realization hits him. When Ma yanks open the fridge, darkness greets him. He can't see a thing. He grabs a table lamp, plugs it in, and hits the switch. The millions in the fridge are frozen solid, impossible to move quickly. When the power kicks on, Yan's hidden cameras spring to life. Ma topples the freezer, trying to shove the ice block away, unaware he's being live-streamed to the police. He strains for hours, but the ice doesn't budge. Greed drives him to madness, until sirens blare. In the end, Old Fan survives. The injury to his kidney becomes a life-saving gift for his son. A stab wound is largely deflected by Yan's phone. And Yan? He awakens from a coma, His death, merely a temporary collapse from illness. The movie's called Knock Knock, a low-budget Chinese thriller that delivers relentless twists through old fans' eyes. A burglar caught in a web of deceit where every turn hides a new shock. If you enjoyed the ride, smash like, subscribe, and ring the bell. See you in the next thriller.